Task Force TV, live from the 27th National Conference on LGBTQ Equality, Creating Change in Denver, Colorado.
Catching up with Meghan Maury of the Task Force. Thanks for taking a minute here on the last day when everyone's trying to scramble to the last plenary. Was a good creating change for you?
It was fantastic. I loved it. Every session that we had went really, really well. People really sort of leaned in and did some great emotional work and great thinking in the sessions. It was fantastic.
We'll talk about the sessions in a second, but let's start quickly with the work you do year-round at the Task Force. They call it Hack the Law, which sounds kind of cool. I mean, I don't know if it's kind of like the same as getting into Sony pictures and reading celebrity emails, but hacking the law, what is that?
Basically, what we try to do is use the law creatively to benefit our community. So we call it hacking the law because we feel like we're doing it in a kind of a different way than traditional lawyers approach policy work. Instead of just fighting for legislation, we work with agencies to make sure that the legislation that exists is implemented in ways that are good for our community.
Gotcha. So you're kind of like just pouring through various policies and government strategies maybe, and just you're finding little loopholes or little holes that really going like, that's not good for us. That we can help that. We can work better on this. That sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, the short story is every law that gets passed is kind of vague, right? There are general holes throughout the law because the Congress can't just write out every detail of how something would work. Mm-hmm. So those holes have to get filled with something, and the agencies have the job of figuring out what they get filled with. So we talk to the agencies and say, when you're thinking about how to fill those holes, please do it with the LGBTQ community in mind.
So then how did you translate that into the sessions that you were conducting this week?
So we actually ran a session called Hack the Law.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, it was very clear. And we talked to folks about some of the ways that we've used this sort of regulatory policy advocacy, this law hacking, to make change for our community. And we talked about how they can do that on a state or local level as well as on a federal level.
Yeah, because in D.C., you're doing the big broad stroke things, right. But really what matters is everyone here going to their little local communities and doing the same thing.
Yeah, and state laws operate just the same way as federal laws. State legislators can't possibly write down every single tiny little detail of how a law is going to work. And so the local agencies, like your local Department of Education or your local police force or your local justice system, is implementing those laws in the way that they feel like is right. So you can advocate with them on a state and local level to make sure that they're filling in those gaps in the law in a way that makes sense for our community.
And how's it perceived? Like when you go to these agencies and at every level of government, is it received well and they're working with you?
Hit or miss, I'd say. Of course, like with any other kind of advocacy, there are, on the federal level, there are really quite a lot of agencies that we work with that we do have a great relationship with, that are really interested in helping our community, even without our advocacy. A lot of them are driving change on their own as well. On the state and local level, it's really hit or miss, but it's not necessarily, it doesn't always match up with what you'd think. Mm-hmm. So sometimes local regulatory agencies are interested in doing this work because it saves them money.
Yeah.
It saves them time.
Everyone loves that,
right? It saves them from complaints, right? So there are reasons for them to work with you that might not be what you'd expect.
All right, excellent stuff. Meghan, thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
It's Creating Change here in Denver for Task Force TV.
Task Force TV, live from the 27th National Conference on LGBTQ Equality, Creating Change in Denver, Colorado.